Peace, YouTube. Peace, YouTube. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Check on in. Big up to the IG crew coming in strong. I see the IGs coming in. Wow. Let me state this to anyone who's on here. Oh, you requested me? Okay, I'll look at that purple. Thank you for everyone coming in. Let me just state this. There's an interesting thing that goes on whenever I'm discussing something. Let me speak to YouTube. YouTube, I love you. I've been on with you for years. There isn't any need to, attack my videos or to pull them down. You could simply just call me and just say, FleurBrun, we won't allow you to talk about this topic because we're diabolical. Just let me know, because all you do is you martyr me. What you're doing is martyring me. You're giving me more credence than I deserve. You're giving me more validity. You're giving more validity to the things I speak about by taking off my feed and deleting them like that. Okay, so we're going to get into the conversation. For no further ado, big up to IG and the crew coming in. I spoke to IG. We have a big support system. Can't stop, won't stop. We're going to continue the information. So we have Mrs. Jesus, who I believe had something to do with our past feed being deleted and other diabolical ones. And there are people that are being used in certain Willy Wonka systems that are literally organic portals that are fractured from young, be it trauma. And we discussed this before with Cardi, okay? We've discussed this before with other celebrities that are literally cherry-picked from traumatic experiences. So usually what I want to detail is that when you get some of these celebrities that become celebrities, why they're cherry-picked is because they come from diabolicalness. They've been traumatized as children. They're usually sexually abused. They have all kinds of Waverly sexuality that shows up from young, and they make them they're perfect specimens to take and utilize them, make them sign their blood contracts and oaths, and propel them into stardom, so that people not only look at them as these grandiose beings, but also emulate a lot of their behavior. Unbeknown to you, you're being infected with dark frequencies by the nature of these diabolical beings being propelled and being placed on a pinnacle point of stardom, and you're looking at them like they're perfect beings, and meanwhile they come from diabolicalness, and they're being propelled up there only so that you emulate that darkness, or you get comfortable with that kind of low fail frequency. It doesn't matter what they're trying to say out their mouths. And let me just say this, that oh yes, please like the video, because it only says 3 people are in here. Mind you, family, I have 170 likes, but it only says 3 people. I've got to take a picture of this because you would never believe it. Hold on, let me take a picture of this. Okay, listen, I've got 170 likes, but I have 3 people. It only says I have 3 people in here. Can't stop, won't stop. See how they're messing with the feed? It only says 3 people are in here. It's madness. And probably only 3 people in here are the ones who are watching right now. It's probably the My Lab, Willy Wonka, and probably Mrs. Jesus. Those are probably the only 3 people that they're letting show up in the feed. Anyway, so please put a like on the video. I don't even think the likes will go up. It's just going to stay like that. Okay. It's crazy. Madness in here. Okay, so they cherry pick these people from coming from low field beginnings. And if you think I'm not telling the truth, let's look at some celebrities. You have beings like, more recently, you have someone like T.I. and Tiny. Interesting names to mate them with. And T.I. and Tiny, who are picked to be placed in positions to influence people. So how do you have a drug dealer who is notably a what's considered to be a rat in the hip hop community, because he's considered to be Willy Wonka is one of his henchmen of the Willy Wonkas. So he's basically a covert Willy Wonka agent that is set into the hip hop community. You know, a lot of times these people go into the prison system and they get to cop a plea, and when they cop a plea, they are utilized by Willy Wonka to spy or be placed in critical positions with others that they want to get intel or they want to take down. Okay, so he's one of them. So he's been placed in a pinnacle position, and now he was on a show, a family show, showing how wonderful the family. And now I love seeing family dynamics, but family, it's a setup because he represents a drug dealer. Drug dealers in themselves are people that don't have care for anyone else but themselves. People don't like when I say that because a lot of us know, notice I said us, know drug dealers. And they say, oh, well, FleurBrun, why would you generalize all drug dealers? By the nature of you selling drugs to people, mothers, brothers, children, by the nature of you being okay with that already says you're diabolical. Because anyone who's healthy or mindful wouldn't be okay with distributing a chemical that can cause harm to a family dynamics, can create more addictions, brings more demons and connections to their auric field that will lower them, making them more susceptible to demonic possession. There isn't anybody who would be okay with that if they're healthy. So please, for those who like to defend drug dealers, there's a lot of diabolical people other than drug dealers. That's just all I'm talking about now. T.I. was one of them, okay? So he probably copped the deal. Willy Wonka allowed him to be on a family show, whatever contract he signed up for. So now you have this image of this father figure. Oh, he's wonderful. Tiny, she's wonderful mother figure. Someone who hates herself so much that she would change her eye color, or rather take away from her eye color, because she really has problems with her self-imagery. Because I'm going to go in right now. Now it says I have 4 people in here. Let me state this, and this is, and I suffered from this too. Whenever someone doesn't like themselves, biologically, physically, they alter themselves, and that is a sign of self-hatred. I suffered from it. Many of you suffer from it. 99% of the people on television, because they're always getting Botox, they're always getting fake boobs, they're always getting fake bums, they're always getting fake noses, they're always getting fake eyes and hair. That is a sign of lack of self-love. When a being loves themselves, there isn't anything they will alter. They won't alter themselves. And why does that matter to you? Because when people don't like themselves, physically, sexually, however that shows up, they don't like themselves, they are susceptible to infiltration. Non-love is basically allowing yourself to be portaled through by other beings, because it lowers your auric field. Non-love also creates holes in your auric field to allow for attachments to entities or archonic infiltration that will perpetually keep you in that state of mind. I've suffered from it myself. Low self-esteem, many of us have. And when I was suffering from low self-esteem, you shouldn't have wanted to be a party to me, because I was going to be a hindrance to you. Low self-esteem makes anyone susceptible to being a Smith by the nature of them not loving themselves. So if someone changes their eye color because they don't like it, that's a sign of lack of self-love. When someone doesn't like their hair, that's a lack of self-love. When someone changes their color of their skin, that's a lack of self-love. When someone is always obsessing with their nose or getting smaller nose or bigger nose, that's a lack of self-love. Changing the lips, the dynamics of your lips, making them thinner or thicker, that's a lack of self-love, okay? Getting fake bums, that's a lack of self-love. Getting fake breasts, that's a lack of self-love. So please, this entire Hollyweird whole fold is all showing you how to be unsatisfied for who and what you were born to be. Everyone here is born perfect. Your parents didn't alchemically make a bad decision unless they're chaotically mating. When your parents, your dad chose your mom to mate with and create you, there was something special about each of those gene pools that wanted to create 2 together and make something 1. There wasn't anything wrong with you. Your hair texture, coily or straight, is absolutely on point and beautiful. It shouldn't be altered because it makes you dynamic, it makes you unique, it makes you amazing. Your lips being thicker or thinner is just how you were set up, and your father didn't mind your mom's thin lips, and your mom didn't mind your dad's thin lips. There wasn't anything wrong with them. They were attracted to each other. Having a big bum is not a necessity to be able to be lovable in this society. Having big breasts or big tatas is not something that will make you more lovable. Or listen, I had a chaotic savage abuse me, and I was all kinds of breasts of mass destruction. So that didn't stop me from being susceptible to infiltration. So let me state that before we go into portals. Lack of self-love makes somebody portable. It makes them portable. And that is something that you need to work on self and also avoid with other people. Someone not loving themselves and always altering how they look or being non-satisfied with their sex. Not saying if you're a woman and you don't like being a woman, that's a sign of lack of self-love. If you're a man and you don't like being a man and you want to alter that and be something else, that's a lack of self-love. You should, by the nature of you coming in, you should be grateful to come in a beautiful body that's capable of loving, of walking, talking, breathing. That is self-love. If you are anti to who you are naturally, that you are portable. That means you are an open portal. You are susceptible for infiltration, okay? Because it lowers your auric field, being non-satisfied for who and what you are, okay? Let me state that first. And I'm not talking to any of you specifically, other than knowing that that's how I felt. And when I was in loving myself and when I was feeling loathing of myself, I attracted a demon who attached to me and created me exactly how I felt about myself. So I'm not speaking to the, I'm actually speaking to the choir, because I was one of you, okay? So when we talk about these Mrs. Jesus who are shared, and I'm going to go in because that's why they probably deleted my feed. Mrs. Jesus, number one, was on, we're so diabolical. Look at that. Look at, now they're telling me I have 0 people in here. All of you are in here, but it's telling me nobody's watching the video. These, YouTube, get a life. Get a life. Go harass somebody else. Nobody, listen, I appreciate your platform, but by all means, you should, oh, now it fixed it. Wait, now it fixed it. Yo, I just talked to YouTube and they just fixed it. They put 415 people in here. And just a moment ago, it's 0. That's wild. Now it's, please put likes on it. Please, for all those 415 people, put a like. So at least we have proof that you were here. My gosh, demonic. Anyway, so why I wanted to bring that up, because when I talk about portals, open in organic portals and inorganic portals, we have to bring that into the discussion. When I bring up T.I. and Tiny having a show and being representations of family dynamics, when these beings come from darkness and had ruined other people's families and are lacking in self-love, that is not something that you want to put on a pedestal and set out there so that children or people watch that and are wanting to emulate that, not knowing what came with being there, okay? When you want to emulate people and you don't know what got them to that point, you're going to also pull in the diabolicalness that comes along with that. All right. When you have someone like Cardi B, who's basically being propelled to higher fields of all kinds of stardom, she can't even make a haiku. She isn't even able to talk properly. She's suffering from all kinds of mental instability. I think she's special, you know, and not to knock any special needs. Listen, big up to all the special needs moms and dads. This isn't to quantify or to attack people or people who are special needs or children, parents of special needs children. I'm not doing that. What I'm stating is that they are putting up a certain quality of human, we don't even know if she's human, a type of person, a being, up on a high pedestal for your children to and people to emulate. I personally think she has cognitive depreciation, maybe from doing lots of drugs, maybe just being very limited cognitively from a child. We don't know where that comes from. And they put her on a high pedestal. What does she do to get to that position? She can't even rap. Anybody could talk in a sentence on a wonderful backbeat. Me and you could make a hit record talking in a sentence. Anything could sound good with that. She apparently is being held there because she represents a dark type of being. She was fighting on the street with her mother and sister in the middle of the hood, a mother, her own mother, is fighting in the street with a whole bunch of women on the feet, and they put this woman on a high pedestal. That's because she is susceptible to infiltration. She is controllable. She is a organic portal, and by the nature of her being so limited cognitively and already compromised oracally, she is perfect. She is a perfect petri dish to insert certain programs to emit to the populace, so that you all can pick up that dirty frequency and emulate it, so that the whole society is limited, so that they can perpetually keep you entrained, motivated, herd you in certain directions. Okay, so we'll get into Mrs. Jesus, who I posted it on my community notes, who I'm grateful for all of you who definitely called in to make sure her children were fine and she was safe. Because she was putting out her information. This is the Willy Wonka program gone left. What happens is when you start blowing spots on replicants, those who are being replicated, and you start talking about the diabolicalness of Willy Wonka and what that being and that system does, then they will come for you. Now, if you're in a pinnacle position of influence, meaning you are on center stage as far as being in social media, it makes it a little harder for them to just take you out. They can't do it to everyone who's blowing spots. And some people are more susceptible to versions of reprogramming than others, based on their genetics, based on their limited cognitive skills. A person who is limited or is suffering from some sort of psychosis, and I like to say this, some people are portals by the nature of their genetics. There are children being born who are open, who have an open susceptibility. We call them shamans. A lot of shamans have this quality. They're born as open portals. It's not many of them, but when they come in, it's notable. These are the ones who may be hearing voices in their head, or a buoyancy. These are beings that are very open. I like to say they're open vessels. They're open vessels, okay? And it doesn't mean that they're replicants or, doubles. They're not doubles, so to speak, but they're just born like that. These are usually children that in a healthy society or a healthy tribal base will be protected. A mother, a society, a village will recognize that as a special quality, and they will protect that child and put them and cultivate them in a more protected, cloaked system, so that they aren't always going to be inceptible by beings who see that as a way to, like a jump room. They'll see certain people as jump rooms. This is why you will hear FleurBrun say to you all the time, I haven't ever been a fan of people who are channelers perpetually. Even the psychic I brought on, big up to the wonderful psychic that I brought on. She's amazing. We and her discussed it, and one of the reasons I wanted to add her to the discussion was that she was also in the alignment that she was okay with spirits or entities communicating with her as a whole being and them being outside of her, but she wasn't ever going to give permission for them to enter into her, to use her vessel as a communication, as a way to communicate. Okay, so utilizing her body as a portal, as a vessel to communicate through. Okay, she wasn't okay with that, and that's one of the things people had a problem. Not everybody had a problem with me saying that, because many of you know me for years, but that's one of the things I wouldn't trust someone around my family and around my personal home who is an open portal, because just like you open yourself to these type of deities, and sometimes, yes, you have control maybe of the type of beings, but just the nature of you having that openness just would allow, if a stronger, darker being has the propensity to be able to jump in, on sight, you may be infiltrated by that dark being if they see an open portal, open door. It's like having a car with the keys in the ignition and it's in the middle of the hood. Yeah, it may be in the middle of the hood, but who's to say? It doesn't matter if you have a car in the middle of Beverly Hills and you have the keys and it's a Maybach or it's a Mercedes, right? Something may want to take over that car. So it doesn't matter if you're in the hood. Yeah, the hood, you have more hoodlums who take over your car, but your vessel. But also, if you're in a high-end area, you might have high-end criminals who take over your vessel. Okay, so I just think, why even leave your car open, your vessel open to anything to take over? You should always be in the driver's seat. By the nature of you taking and letting something else take over the control, you already allowed yourself to be susceptible. That is something that I quantify as you being a possible agent or a Smith. Call it what it is. I could have a say over who I allow around me, and if I know that you're that type of person that likes to channel all the time and likes to bring beings from other planets, you can't vet these beings out. These beings are higher in intelligence. These beings have higher forms of technology than we do. We're very limited cognitively. Just the nature of how we're conditioned on this low field dense planet makes one susceptible to all kinds of infiltration and limited protection on us. So why would I allow somebody to come around me and mine who's that kind of portal? I don't mind watching them from a distance, but it wouldn't be somebody I would allow in my personal world. That's how I feel. You may feel differently, and everybody on here has a right, but that's how I feel. So when we talk about Miss Jesus and her being compromised from years ago when she was blowing spots on I can't even say the word. She was blowing spots on those doubling, doubling places where they take people and they replace them with an altar. Okay, let's say altar, because I can't use the word. When they were taking people and they were making altars, she blew the spot on that. Also, she was talking about the satanic connection. So this plays into the part where, remember, she said she would be replaced. I don't know if many of you followed her. Like I said, me and her kind of intercepted for many years, because she does follow my platform. She has followed me for years. I've known about her from the Getty Up, back when she was on MTV, and I've seen what happened to her after she blew spots, and how she, like my other homie, who was also compromised for declaring and telling the truth, they were all reprogrammed. They were sent away to reprogram facilities. They were electrically altered, and they were set out. Now, one of the programs that they insert them with is a religious Jesus program. Now, this Mrs. Jesus is talking about having oral sex, which, now, hold on. For anyone coming on the feed, I'm about to go left. If you have little ones in the room, let me give you a warning. If you have little ones in the room, FleurBrun may go left. I want to make sure that your little ones put the earbuds on. I always give you warnings, because some of the conversation I may have might dip a little low. So that being said, make sure that you are putting the earbuds on. Make sure the little ones go inside. I give you a minute to let the little ones go inside and do some, coloring or what have you. Just make sure, okay? So Mrs. Jesus is making a multitude of videos. Now, big up to the Sea Star who shared with me the altar. That was, there was a video sent to me. I wish I could sit in the house, because I was going to sit in the house and show you, but I got to be careful, because I think she's the reason that I might have, the last feed was cut off. Helicopter. But I wanted to show you how she was able to have a full conversation without having fractured conversation years ago. This is like 10 years ago. You can see her talking. You can see that she has some mental stability and how she expresses herself. And then you see, as time goes on, her speech becomes fractured. Even her mind thoughts are fractured. And also, there was one video that one of the Sea Stars sent me where she calls herself Jennifer, and she said that Mrs. Jesus was sleeping and she was Jennifer. And Jennifer sounds just like the altar, which I know has taken over her right now with Miss Jesus. She says that she's Jennifer. She talks real hood. She uses a lot of ebonics. She uses the N-word a lot. She says that she's a black woman. This is what she states. And what you've noticed on the community share that I gave you is that on community share, you'll notice that she uses a lot of the same verbiage as she did when she was the altar Jennifer. I love when we get to see that, because a lot of times when people say, well, there's no such thing as the M program, there's no such thing as replications, there's no such thing as them altering your mind and fracturing it. Oh, absolutely. And then what you'll know is that every time someone blows spots publicly, they are always altered, and then they come back with a Jesus fanaticism, some sort of religious fanaticism. That's one of the programs. I don't know why they do that, because maybe they want them to, there's something about their gene or about their very portal that they want to still use. So they don't want to get rid of these people. They want to use them. So they want to keep them, but they want them to still be an influence in a way that will allow for others to follow them. So when they alter them, they always put in the program of Jesus. Now this one has made multitude of videos saying that she's having oral sex with Jesus. He's coming to see her on weekends. She's saying that she's a whore for Jesus. I mean, if you possibly, and then I want you to watch, because I personally think that the person she's calling Jesus as seeing her every weekend is her handler. And then we go into the conversation about portals, people being open portals, them also being mind conditioned or mind swapped, being inserted with new programs, and the handler always has to be around. Okay, that's why I say to you a lot of times, oh wait, hold on. Oh, wait, Abu Dhabi said something. Okay, Abu Dhabi says, what you're talking about is not the I can't say that word. It's a side effect of demonic possession, but it's temporary and does in a long time. Oh, wait, hold on. It's a fraud. Okay. Thank you, Abu Dhabi. I agree. I don't think it's one and the same. I agree with you. Demonic possession. That's why we talk about demonic possession as it relates to some of these open portals. I agree with you. But I think sometimes it could be one and the same. Sometimes it can be, they sometimes utilize that program to make someone susceptible to demonic possession or attachment. And they use that open portal by breaking a person down oracally, mentally, traumatizing them. And once the person's low enough, it allows for almost like them being like a jump room, like a jumping portal, where beings could attach to their auric field or also enter. Okay, so I totally agree with you. But yes, with her, I know she has something attached to her now, but I think it's a breakdown of her brain synapses along with a form of failed programming that she's starting to, unravel. But for some reason, she has a handler who she calls Jesus, who's coming to see her every weekend to give her a handy dandy dose of sexual, whatever he's doing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Abu Dhabi. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I think there's a combination platter. So let's go into the different forms of the forms of portals, organic and inorganic portals. Let me make an announcement first before we go on. Please put a like on the video. The other video, you already know, they took down. They just X'd it while we were in it. I'm using code words. Please, for anyone who's new to the video or new to the channel, please follow the chat because they will give you the meaning of some of the codes that we use as alternate verbiage that we use so that we aren't bringing any more smoke to this channel. They delete it for whatever reasons, and that's just what they do. Okay. Let me just give a sidebar. Big up to, like I said, Kiki, because I gave a shout out to Kiki on the last one. And my nails are not a good indication of what she's sharing, but Kiki just wrote a book. I love it. It's called Kiki. It's about nails being a connection, like how it is connected to your behavioral patterns, some of the things, the energies. And she wrote an amazing book. It's on her channel. It's on her page, kikimancy.com. It's amazing. I always have to give her a shout out. I gave it on the other video, but I don't even know that the other video will stay up based on that. Thank you, Azel. Fleur, you're spot on as well about Abu Dhabi. The thing is, they use both versions to reprogram MK. Yep, it's still alive and kicking. Now they are used as demonic portals. Yes, I agree with you totally. Thank you, Aziel. Thank you, my mom. I agree with you. Okay, so let me stay focused and let's go into I just wanted to use her as an example, Mrs. Jesus. And again, if you look at my community, I know many of you couldn't tolerate it. It's very sad. And again, I'm very grateful to all the mommies and so on who called because she was giving out her address. She's basically unraveling. And how you know that they're using her is because she's not getting in trouble. Like she had calls, they put her in a protected area where they can keep her, and they're utilizing her as a portal. They're actually still utilizing her. So she's acting all kinds of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I mean, if you even hear some of the verbiage, you could see she's like, you could see her unraveling. It's madness, the things she's saying. But there isn't anyone giving her consequence to that. Makes me know that Willy Wonka is utilizing her. She's being used as an active portal, okay? For whatever agenda they have. Maybe her influence is enough to influence to control the like tragic, okay? And she was blowing spots years ago, and then they reprogrammed her like they did. Even B.O.B., I had the biggest crush on B.O.B. Many of you know that. He was like my, he made the song, Fifth Dimension, and I brought that to my conference. But he's also been compromised. It's my opinion. He's been compromised, and he's attached to people who I personally think are his handlers. When he started to blow spots, he's not talking about blowing spots anymore. If you notice, his whole verbiage has changed. And, he's got girls twerking all the time. Not to say that isn't something that wouldn't be in his frequency, but hold on one second. Oh, thank you, N Golden. Check out Wages World. He has proof Earth is 12, almost 13 frequencies. And it's proof all masses of low density around the planet coming in within CERN. Thank you, N Golden. I appreciate it. I agree. They're lowering the frequency to allow for more susceptibility to these types of infiltration. Okay, and people who are the most susceptible to that type of attachment or possession or altering in order to field in new information via television, via social media, are those who are literally inorganic portals and aren't even understanding that that's what they are, okay? They use tattoos to do that too. Tattoos also used as a form of, getting access to you through sentient goo. That's something I talked about too. So be careful getting tattoos, family. We talked about that too. They're infiltrating you at all layers. They're infiltrating your food. They infiltrate the type of things that you're doing. They made veganism into a new staple of life so that they can lower your immune system and allow for, what is it called? Wow, my mind just went blank for a second. What's it called? Nanobots. Took me a minute. Nanobots too. And veganism in itself it was natural for some. Let me state this before I go on, because I'm gonna go on. Because a lot of the vegan Nazis they're all infiltrated anyway. Yeah. Yes, Kaka. What's up? What's up, baby? Where you going? Nanobots. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so they're infiltrated by nanobots. And I'm just saying that it isn't natural how veganism came about. I've been in that lifestyle for a long time, over 30 years. So I know anybody who's been a part of that world, whether it's vegetarianism, veganism, pescatarian, we've been a part of that world. So you've seen the unnatural propaganda going out, and then they set these unhealthy people who are lacking nutrition. Their brains aren't even working. Their synapses aren't even held tight. And they're basically attacking people who are eating any other way than veganism. If you're a happy vegan, you don't have to attack other people. I wouldn't sit for days making pure attacks on people that eat other than I. That's like Christianity or being some sort of like hostile Muslim. Those are all points of like fanaticism. Like if you're a fanatic like that and you have to go and make sites on attacking other people, happy people are happy people. They wouldn't attack anyone. If you're grateful and happy with yourself, you won't have to demonize anybody else. The fact that they're doing that is also a testament that isn't a lifestyle that they're cohesive with. Because if you're eating balanced, you would be a happy person. You would share your information if someone asked or requested, or share some of the things you do if people request, but you wouldn't be fanaticizing it and also attacking people. That lets you know that there's some sort of agenda with that. Because the mass amount of vegans now are hostile. They're hostile, they're hungry, hangry, whatever you call it, and they're lacking in nutrition, and also they're overrun by nanobots because they're using your phone to replicate the blue field on your phone with the microfibers coming out from the chemtrails, metal fibers going underneath your skin, and then the blue field on your phone along with a pH that's low enough that's actually alkaline. The more alkaline your blood is, allows for a healthy, cohesive system to allow for replication along with the blue field. Anybody who worked as a botanist or as someone who worked with genes or blood, you know that you need a certain light, remember, and certain lights in order to allow for funguses or certain bacteria to grow or bacterium not to grow. So you need a certain light, a certain type of light, and also we need a certain biological you know, an environment that's cohesive to a fungus. So if I'm growing a certain type of fungus, anybody who's on here is a clinician, you know this, certain kind of fungus, I may need a certain light to allow for that fungus to grow, to thrive, okay? So they're doing this with your phones, veganism, and being too alkaline, okay? Be balanced. Eat as you are drawn. Now, if you love animals, by all means, loving animals doesn't mean you have to hurt yourself, okay? Because I was the biggest animal activist, but I wasn't out hurting people or demonizing people, okay? Let me go on. Oh wow, really? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I love that you give me. I love that you share that with me. Thank you. I needed to know that. Okay, so okay, so let's go on. So we have let's go into organic. Let's go into organic. Okay. Okay. My eyes are here. I actually had the sunglasses on because I was being nosy earlier, and I just left them on. Sometimes when I'm being nosy and I want to look at certain things in certain colored glasses. You already know. Many of you know I do this. Okay, so let me stay focused. Anyone in the room, put a handy dandy like on the video to detail that you were here. Okay, so organic portals. What is an organic portal? Organic portals are those entities, now it's not always human, entities that are created or bioengineered to allow for functionality physically, but control spiritually, or like almost having an open portal to allow for things to enter without aversion. Okay, so when we talked about when I talk about biological beings that have been capped consciously, what am I talking about? The planet, we know that the majority of people on this planet, including myself, we've all been homogenized to a certain degree, some more than others. Now, what happens when they aren't allowing humans to make proper mating choices, when people are chaotically mating, it allows for a certain type of entity to be created and birthed on this planet. By taking away the necessity to test people's blood types and not even making that a choice or even something that you would be inclined to do before you mate with someone, is also allowing for more chaotic mating. Also projecting negativity in types of beings who are perpetuating so-called positivity on television, but internally they're negative or chaotic, but they're perpetrating. So it doesn't matter how someone looks. Listen, a clown puts on makeup to entrain you. Some people don't like clowns, but clowns put on makeup to change how you see them. Okay, so there are beings who may look a certain way. That's why all these plastic surgeries, Botox, fake boobs, fake butt, fake hair, that's all a form of entrainment to change how someone sees them. Now, if you are in your natural state of being, you would naturally be attracted to those phenotypes, those characteristics that you genetically have a connection to. But when you start getting people who are perpetrating imagery that isn't them, then what happens is that you're attracted to something that is artificial, that isn't natural. And when you're attracted to someone who isn't necessarily your phenotype type, then what happens is you're chaotically mating, along with not getting your blood type, not knowing the background of the people that you're mating with. A lot of this cloaking of phenotype, blood type, those are all basically propelling you in order to perpetually chaotically mate. And then you create children that, by the nature of mating with a type of species or a type of being that you normally wouldn't be attracted to, then you're having a chaotic child, and that is an organic portal. Chaotic mating creates organic portals, okay? So they're geoengineering people without their knowledge or without their overt consent. So I'll give you an example. Joe wants to mate with Jane, okay? Just Joe wants to mate with Jane. Joe comes from a Nordic background. He's, you know, like a ginger, curly, blondish, dirty blonde hair. He has blue eyes are just a lighter form. Blue eyes is just clear eyes. I say clear because there's no such thing as blue or green eyes. It's just clear eyes. There's only eye color we have is grades of brown. Whenever someone has bluish eyes, it's not blue, it's see-through. And it's the veins behind the eye that actually gives a reflection of blue. It's just like the ocean isn't blue, it's a reflection of the sky above it. Okay, so whatever the color is the sky is the color of the water. It's the same with someone who has blue or green eyes. It isn't that their eyes are blue, it is see-through. Okay, so it's just, like I said, okay, so he has very clear eyes. So I always say clear eyes, okay? He has very clear eyes. He is built very, very stern, strong. His family is from Ireland. Okay, so he's from Ireland. His blood type is B negative. Okay, his mom is also a ginger. His father has darker, curlier hair. His mother is a little bustier because she's Irish, so she's a little bustier, right? His mother's a little shorter and stout. Okay, his sisters are the combination between the darker hair and the curlier hair of himself. Most of the family is either Irish or it's Irish mixed or with English Welsh. Okay, so he's B negative. I'm talking about Joe. Joe would be naturally attracted to women that are busty like his mother because that reminds him of a mother, of a nurturer. So for him, Joe has grown up with a mother who's very loving and she's busty, so he sees that as a nurturing quality. It reminds him. Hold on. Okay. Interesting. You see, they'll use portals, open portals to disrupt. Anyway, so she's busty. He looks at her, he likes that quality because it reminds him of his mother. He likes women that are a little shorter, similar to his mother's. Remember, your first love is your mother, okay? That's why I say mothers matter. The first person, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, this is a Freudian system, it's what I studied, and I've kind of solidified that that's the truth. We always pick our mothers. Good or bad as you may seem, you always pick your mothers. So if you're picking someone who's sociopathic and your mom was like that, you may pick out someone who's like that socially. But anyway, so Joe likes his mother. She's sweet. She was coddling. She was busty. She also had very clear eyes, very, very bright eyes. She also has very, hold on. This is, okay. In about 40 minutes, okay? Okay. Okay, so it's all kinds of things going around me as I'm trying to discuss this. Very interesting. So she has clear eyes. His mother was beautiful. He loved the way she looked. He loved his mother. She was very nurturing, very loving. Okay, so Joe grows up, you know, he grows up and everything's all good in the hood. He meets Jill. Jill is remember, Joe is a B negative, okay? Jill is a B, no, she's not a B. Let's say Jill is a, let me give it, okay, so Jill is a positive, okay? Jill is a positive. She has, normally her hair is like a very, her hair is the color, she has a very, she has dark straight hair, okay? But Jill doesn't like the way her hair looks because she likes the way that this other girlfriend that she used to have. So Jill dyes her hair blonde, like a blonde. She loves her hair very blonde. So she would dye her hair a lighter color so it comes out almost like a little reddish. So she likes this color. It isn't her natural color. And she likes her hair to be a little coily or curlier. So she puts a perm in her hair to make it thicker and curlier. So Jill, who normally is a dark, straight-haired A positive, has straight hair, black hair, darker hair. Her eyes are normally a darker color, but she loves blue contacts, and it looks beautiful with the blonde curly hair that she's putting on. So she puts on bluish eyes, blue contacts to match the new hair that she dyed, okay? Jill also was ridiculed as a child for being flat-chested when she went to puberty. So she always didn't like that disposition about herself. So she decided at the age of 21, she saved up money and she got herself an amazing breast augmentation. She got herself really busty because she was always teased as a child, as a teenager. She didn't like that. So for her own self-esteem, she decided to go and save up her money from her job, and she got herself bustier. So now Jill, who normally has straight, blackish, darkish hair, who normally is dark-eyed, has blue-eye contacts because she loves the way it looks. Her hair is lighter, almost like a reddish-looking curly now. That she changed, and also she altered her body, make herself look more busty. Okay, so now she goes out and she meets Joe. Oh, Joe looks at Jill and is like, woo! And also, Jill is also studied a lot of different types of ways to, to do different things based on what she's subscribed to online. I know I'm getting into this, it takes a long time, but I'm trying to show you how how people mate chaotically without knowing. Joe is lusty. Males are easier to entrain chaotically because males are more visually stimulated. A healthy male will be visually stimulated, but also he will be characteristically stimulated. We don't have much of that because of the overindulgence of social media. Okay, so he meets Jill. She's busty babs, like he likes, like his mama. He takes it as a nurturing quality because that also makes women more nurturing. The more busty a woman is, they tend to be more nurturing, very motherly. Okay, she has curly, thicker, reddish hair like his mother. He feels like he's falling in love. He sees these beautiful blue eyes that remind him of his mother, and her conversation is amazing. He talks to her. He is like so into her. He's falling in love just from physically meeting her. They get together. They like each other. And they end up creating a child. Okay? The child now will be born with phenotypes of a different type of mother that's different than the type of woman that he would have chosen naturally, that he would have been naturally attracted to. Why do I bring this up? I know there's more to this, and I want to get you all bored with the conversation. I wanted to bring this in. What happens is that when you're choosing from a phenotype that is artificial, by the nature of you doing something that isn't natural to what, it's like introducing a bear into the society where this bear is not natural and changing the way it seems to other bears so that it would be able to mate with the other bears of that region. It's the same with geoengineering certain types of people. So when you geoengineer people, or they're geoengineering yourself, because remember, we've been so messed up that a lot of things have been proponed to you by social media. Social media gears people towards certain types of physical attributes and propels them as being the standard of beauty. So if the standard of beauty is being 80 pounds soaking wet, maybe taller or lean or non-busty, that will be what society tends to go towards. Now society has another physical, it's not tall and lean anymore. That isn't on the social network, menu. Now it's having really big butts, really big bum bums, right? That's a new thing, big bum bums. I don't know if it's really busty anymore. I don't think they're propelling bustiness. Really big lips, oversized lips, big bum bums, darker skin. That's what they're putting down there right now. They're putting that out right now. So whatever is being promoted to you, people will start to emulate it. And what it does is it allows for people to be attracted to that, and to emulate that standard of beauty that's being promoted on social media. Yeah, duck lips. Is that called duck lips? Like the duck, big pout. What is it called? I don't know what those lips are called. What is it? Buck lips, and smaller waist, okay? So what happens is that by the nature of you chaotically mating, you are geoengineering your children to be open portals, because that is going to break down the integrity of the gene pool, because you are naturally attracted to who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be attracted to certain things that you like. If you're attracted to, like I said, busty babs, bustier women, and this is a fact, I'm not saying it because it's who I am, because I have other things that are not as attractive, but I'm busty. busty women tend to be very motherly by genetics. So whenever you see a lot of busty, naturally busty women, that makes them very motherly. It just does. I don't know why. That's a genetic quality. If you ever notice young women that are very busty, they tend to be very motherly, very coddling, very loving. That's a quality that comes with that. A lot of Mexicano women have a very busty. Places where I come from, very busty, very motherly qualities. Maybe a lot of estrogen, maybe. And what's interesting is that a lot of women will get big busts, but they won't have the motherly quality because they aren't naturally busty. That is a genotype that comes with a certain type of mindset, a type of mental quality. It comes with, it just, breasts don't just come with breasts. It comes with certain types of behavioral patterns. So just like you're born and you may do things that your father did, some of you do this, like your dads used to do, and your mother be like, oh my God, you're born and you're doing the same thing as your father, because you have certain things that you're born with, and some of the physical or behavioral patterns come along with the genomes. Genomes have criteria or characteristics that come along with it. So maybe you go like this, like your mother used to do, and you're like, why do I do that? Even if you're not raised with your mother, you'll still do the same things. Those are qualities inside of the genomes, okay? Boobies carry responsibilities, absolutely. So someone getting fake boobs, a lot of people are like, how come she's not as sweet? Because that's not her natural quality. Big bums also has a certain disposition, okay? That's a certain disposition. Okay, so I just went off track talking, because it's hard for me to talk about genomes, but it does interrelate into organic portals. So what happens is a lot of times you have beings on here that are organic portals. They're geoengineered by you doing it or them doing it in a laboratory. Willy Wonka doesn't want to have to spend billions of dollars of doing this in a laboratory. So what he does is Willy Wonka does studies for 20 years. And then when he finds something something that is pinnacle to his agenda, then he will set forth a plan to influence society to do exactly what he does in a laboratory. Willy Wonka doesn't have to take you all and round you up and force you to do things anymore. All he has to do is influence you by social media. All he has to do is control the narrative that you're seeing perpetually and hearing every day, and he can make you do exactly what he wants you to do. So that being said, you have biological portals now in the mass droves where people have been geoengineered by their own behavioral mating, and they've created children of mass destruction that are susceptible to infiltration. Now, does it make them bad? Absolutely not, but it makes them susceptible to infiltration, meaning that they're open portals by the nature of mating chaotically, and they're walking around. So God forbid they have a glass of wine, or they have a cup of tequila or shot of tequila, or they had vodka. Now, because the nature of their genomes not being powerful and strong, them being chaotically created, makes them susceptible to deities attaching to their auric field or jumping into them like jump rooms. Okay, so that's where you get a lot of these beings out here that seem so detached, so sociopathic, so narcissistic. This basically is because you have beings that have been perpetually geoengineered generationally that are, hold on, family. A car just stopped out of the blue. Hold on. No, I gotta pay attention. Why stop here? Hold on. Write down this license plate. Y45. Is that Y45? QAC? Is that QAC? My eyes are not the same. Hold on. Interesting. Okay, so I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, so let me go back to my mind state. Sometimes I get distracted. So basically, by homogenizing human beings generationally, okay, people are like, oh, FleurBrun, you're exaggerating. This isn't true. I want you to look at the Ashkenazi Jewish community, the Orthodoxy Jewish community in Brooklyn. Big up to my Orthodoxy Jews in Brooklyn. They're probably not watching this. The children may be watching, but maybe the adults aren't. The Ashkenazi Jewish people are quite that. They are actually created and homogenized internally by perpetually mating within a specific gene pool that disallows for any anomaly, any sort of influences of others outside of themselves. Okay, so what happens is that when you have a close gene pool, genetic gene pool, DNA, specific DNA that is very local, very non-infiltrated, very aesthetically narrow. What happens is that generationally, it will create a certain type of pattern of behavior that can be quantified in every generation. Okay, so if you take a small gene pool of people that only mate within that small gene of people for a long period of time without any infiltration of other gene pools of people, then what happens is you get certain propensities, certain social behavior that becomes a natural propensity of that gene pool. So why do I bring up Ashkenazi Jews that are Orthodoxy Jews in Brooklyn? In Brooklyn, they're very detached. They don't even see other people. They almost look like biobots. Even in their mannerism, they don't ever give other people eye contact. They only see each other. They have a very far removed societal behavioral pattern that is denoted throughout. That is generationally noted. They barely talk to other people, only when interfacing as far as business is concerned or as necessary. Okay. They are very non-empathetic of others, so they have a non-connectivity to even the very human beings that live in their same neighborhoods for 20, 30 years. They can be living around the same group of family for 20, 30 years, but have zero connection, zero empathy towards them. Those are what are considered to be homogenized, a sect of homogenized humans who are purposefully homogenized themselves, probably geoengineered from the top layer, so meaning that there was a reason to do that and stay in close-knit communities for protection, and then generationally they kept doing it over and over, and it created a very non-human quality that disallows for them to be naturally cohesive to an environment because they're just about themselves. Okay, because I've seen them in Brooklyn a lot of times. What happens is that they just, a child could die right in front of them and be hit by a car. They won't even see it, and they'll just keep walking if that child is not part of their sect. Okay, it's very non-connectivity. Also, for y'all who mentioned, for anyone who mentioned, let me give a shout out to some of you sea stars who mentioned, oh my God, what's her name? Teal Swan? Is that her name? Correct me if I'm, who's that? Oh, I'm getting into delivery. Hold on. Is it Teal Swan? Am I correct? Is it okay? No, it's not. No, it's not her. It's okay. It's Teal Swan. Hold on. I have a delivery family. Hold on. Give me a minute. Yes, Prince. They're inbred. I'm sitting in the car. He doesn't even see me. Hi, how are you? Did I scare you? I was sitting right here.
I didn't notice somebody in the car.
Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. He's walking around with a phone. He's delivering. He doesn't even know I'm in the car. I could have taken him out. I could have been someone waiting for him to take him out. He's passing right by me. He doesn't even notice I'm sitting right here. This is the type of society we're raising. People who are so non-aware of their environment. Okay. So Teal Swan. Okay, so Teal Swan. So a lot of you mentioned me. I've talked about seeing her. I never watched her stuff. Some of the sea stars had an aversion to her, more so than most people who came to me had an aversion to her. So I just noted, I saw her 1 or 2 times. I didn't pay attention to her before, and I just had an issue with how non-connective she was. But also I heard about her Satanist background, and I kind of lumped her in a a package. So let me state this also. There is something to that. So when something came about on my feed, it just naturally recommended one of her videos. I never get recommended her videos because she's not a part of, I don't know, maybe she's just not a part of anything that has to do with what I watch. So she was recommended to my feed. What was it, a couple days ago? I think I mentioned a couple days ago. And I actually sat and watched it because it was interesting. And it's crazy because it was something to do with 2020 predictions. I guess you could watch it. So it came up in my feed. I actually watched it in total. This is the first time you ever see me watch it. And I watched it and I was like, wow. What's interesting with her, and this goes into open portals, everything she said was 1000% on point. Listen to me. It was 1000% on point. Everything she said on that video, I personally felt resonated with me. But I had an aversion to her. I have a natural aversion to her. Her disconnectivity, she feels automated. It doesn't feel natural. It feels automated. So when she's talking, I feel a being that's far removed, non-human in behavioral patterns, very, very biobot, synthetic, not even biobot, synthetica, and how she conveys herself. I loved the conveyance of what she was detailing, but the person that she was dark. It wasn't natural. From what someone mentioned, see, this is what I'm saying. We've been so conditioned, family, to where we can see somebody disseminate truth, but the way the vehicle that's delivering the truth is an issue. So it's like an empty seater, but it's different. No, she's more synthetica. Like, I personally think that this is my opinion, and I only saw one video that let me state this again. I want to be very true. She absolutely was 1000% on point with everything she discussed in that video. I was quite shocked because of the aversion that many of you have towards her, but there is nothing there. That is an open portal. Whatever is entered into her is disseminated. This is my opinion. You don't have to take me. Many of you like her, and I don't think there's a reason why you wouldn't like what she shares, because what she shares is on point. And I only listened to one. I probably should listen to others, but I didn't have to because I was adverse to her. Visually, I was adverse to her, and to her energy. Her frequency didn't have anything that I liked. I actually disliked what I was feeling. She was emitting a frequency that I felt like I wouldn't want to be around her. She's what I detailed to be an open portal. She's some sort of portal, and whatever's entered into her is got a lot of information, and it's disseminating it well. But whatever she isn't resonating with me at all. Okay? So even as she's talking, her verbiage is almost automated to where the point where so much information that's on point. Listen, it's on point. She's disseminating the information, and it's totally correct. But whatever is disseminating that information is coming from a being who's already been taken over by something else. There isn't any, I feel zero organic about her. I felt that isn't somebody I want to be around. Okay? Yes, I agree. There's somebody else like that online who I feel that way, who disseminates information kind of automatedly, kind of non-organically. And it makes me think that they've been taken over, or they weren't ever about that. But she's something different. I think she's literally someone, and from what many of you shared with me, because I don't know her information, I do like Laura Eisenhower, which some people don't like. I actually like her. I really appreciate her. Even, you know what I'm saying? Other people have opinions. That's what I'm saying. We all like who we like. And this isn't to make you dislike Teal Swan or to like Teal Swan, but I will say I appreciated her information, but she's some sort of portal that's portaled something in, and it is disseminating the information through her. There wasn't any connectivity, wasn't anything human about her. I felt that's not a being I would want to be around. I wouldn't even want to go into close proximity of her, because whatever is inside of her disseminating that information, I'm concerned about. And I'm concerned at why so many people are allured by her. But I understand why, because she disseminates a lot of truth. She does. And like I said, family, I know, you know, I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm very honest with you. Unfortunately, I'm too honest sometimes. But whenever somebody's disseminating that amount of truth, but they have the very nature of them itself is adverse or non-connective, there's an agenda behind it. Why would truth like that, coming to help humanity, appear in a package that's adverse in connectivity? Why? That's my question. Usually people who want to save the planet or be sweet with people generally have a sweet disposition, or a very family or very loving disposition. Whenever you have somebody who's disseminating truth, but their disposition is something that's adverse to you, or isn't a very friendly or coddling or wonderful, you got to be concerned about that. Anyway, so I personally think she's another example of a biological portal. Whatever trauma she went through, and I'm so sorry for that, because I heard some of the things from you guys. You guys have disseminated. Whenever you come from Satanist background, I wouldn't trust anything that's been created through Satanism. Any person who's been mated, I'm sorry, and I know people like, is it no? Zero, no, no. If you've been created from Satanists, or Satanists were involved in your cultivation as a child, I wouldn't connect, because that also is why the Cardi B is being propelled to a higher standard. That's why the biggest YouTube platforms online are all people who came from very dark past. These are people that were abused. How about Quartz Crystal? Think she got snatched. Ooh, thank you, Gus. Oh, I don't know who that is. Share her. I don't know who that is, Gus. Maybe connect that. Gus, can you share that with me? I don't know who that is. Yeah, but I personally know that if they're proponing someone and they're okay, like there isn't anyone who's being compromised, they're allowed to share their message clearly, because apparently there wasn't any glitches on Teal Swan. She was given a lot of truth. That means they're giving you poison along with your truth. It's the same with Brother Panic that you guys had a problem with me saying. Brother Panic shares a lot of truth, but he's connected to the Satanist thing. I'm just saying, a lot of times they will allow you to get truth, but you got to get poisoned along with it. So you get a whole lot of truth, but then they'll give you poison with it. So if you even look at a lot of, like I said, a lot of these bigger platforms, look at their past. That's how you know. Look at their past. Go look and see how they were raised. Were they loved as children? Were they homeless? Were they abused? Were they raped multiple times? Were they raised by Satanists? Were they part of a dark occultist background? If these people were, and they're propelled to a higher standard, there's a reason why their message is allowed to be given to you. They're used as portals of information, but you're getting poisoned with the portal. So it's just like, oh my gosh, what is like a, so it's like you getting your pharmaceuticals, right? So you ever get a pharmaceutical, they'll say, okay, pharmaceuticals. So people will get pharmaceutical, right? And you'll get a medicine. So the medicine is to help cure your headache, right? But in getting the medicine to cure your headache, it gives you, it can ruin your stomach. It's bad for your stomach. It could possibly give you lesions. It could possibly cause problems with your kidneys, but it cures your headache. Listen, so this is how I see certain people that are being propelled in higher celebrity status. If they're starting to speak about things as far as spirituality or metaphysics, and it's a lot of truth, I think that they're giving you the aspirin that will ruin your kidneys, that will ruin your liver, and every time you get a dose of that so-called medicine for your headache, you're getting poisoned, and it's ruining all the other things that have to do with your body. So now you started off with a headache, and the headache is cured, but now you're susceptible to all kinds of other infiltration as far as like the rest of your body. So I'm just saying, be careful. That's why I said, even because, like I said, people used to attack me on Brother Panic, because I used to say I personally won't like to hear all kinds of crazy cursing and stuff, even though Dilo Pilot is kind of like that too. What's his name? Dilo Pilot? The pilot? For some reason, when he curses, it doesn't seem the same. It's weird. I guess it has to do with the frequency of the cursing, but he curses too. But I won't want to hear tons of spiritual good things that are supposed to. Dilo Pilot, he always gets my goat, right? That car is driving around. See, that same car is driving around here. Yeah, he always gives a lot of truth. He's fun. He's actually he's an anomaly. He's kind of like an enigma. I really appreciate listening to him, and I have to be flight boss. They call him flight boss. He's quite cute. He's adorable. How he disseminates his information. But but uh but what I'm saying is that just be careful you get poisoned, because if they're proponing someone, they're backing up. Hold on, family. It's the same car, and they're backing up. Hold on, they're gonna get out. Listen. This is why I wear sunglasses sometimes. Hold on. I'm being nosy. Just excuse me for a moment. Because if they don't get out of the car, okay. So the car. So this is what I'm saying. When you guys always say that I'm paranoid, absolutely. The shenanigans are real. Why would they think that parking somewhere where I could see them, why would they think I can't see them? Okay, so this is, can someone mark the time? Someone just parked on the corner, same car. And mind you, what happened? YouTube blocked me? It won't come on. I have to look at you on the phone. Welcome to my world. They block me all the time. Okay, so family, do the time. This person, what is it, 1 minute already, or is it 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Mark the time. 2 minutes. Person parked, same car that we. You guys, I saw. 2 minutes. This is perfect surveillance. They probably know if it's Willy Wonka, he has his earphones on. Okay, Willy Wonka has earphones, and they can hear audio from up to sometimes 180 feet. You know, sometimes or better technology if it's ET based. But this person is not getting out. It's 2 minutes. How many minutes? Just watch the time for me. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm just making sure. Okay. Normally back in the days there used to be smarter stalkers. Stalkers back in the days had common sense. Common sense stalkers are like, you shouldn't be in the line of my sight. They may not even know I'm in the car. See, this is another thing, because remember the guy didn't know I was in there? I think I'm working on invisibility. Remember we talked about cloaking yourself? So I worked on invisibility. I might be invisible to people. That was one of the abilities I was working on. So maybe I cloaked myself so they can't see me. So maybe they don't even know I'm sitting here in the car watching them. Watch me. There's no children outside though. There's no, my little ones are inside. Okay, so they're still in the car, family. So, you know what I'm saying? I think I worked on my invisibility. They don't even know I'm sitting here. If someone just marked the time, because they're still sitting, no one's gotten out. They parked on the corner. That's suspicious. Am I being paranoid? No. They've sat in the corner, have not gotten out. Why are you parking and backing up and sitting on the corner? Okay, so let me continue my conversation. Drugs. Nobody's doing drugs. People here aren't really drugs. Well, I don't know if people do drugs. I can't say that. That would be ignorant for me to say that, right? To say that they're not doing drugs. I don't know if they're doing drugs. Nah, I mean, they're far enough away. Listen, if you're talking about, if they're opening up the window and trying to pull out, that's when someone says it's scary. It is. Listen, I'm always safe, but I'm just saying, it's only scary if they try to pull out. If you see the window opening and you see a long range, then I just pull in. There's other alternatives for me. But I'm just watching them say, they have not got out. So I guess you guys still have the time, right? Well, I can't let you see because I have stalkers and diabolical ones on this feed. So, you know, they always like to find out the neighborhood because they like to dox each other. So I can't let you see my neighborhood, you know. Because letting you see my neighborhood allows me to be susceptible to other kinds of infiltration. Okay, they're still in the car. Okay, so let's just keep going on about portals. I can't really worry. I got one eye on them, and I'll keep talking. So you have portals. So a lot of these major people that are propelled to hire, all these people who are getting paid a lot of money or allowed to talk about it. Like I said, I was going on Teal Swan. When I see her disseminate that kind of truth, but the car is gray. The car is gray. I don't know cars. Is that a? I don't know if that's a. I don't know if that's a Corolla. I don't know if that's a Corolla. I don't know I'm bad with cars. Ordinary cars. I think it's a Corolla. No, maybe not. I can't see. It's not that close anymore. I think I gave you the things before. Oh, it could be insurance appraisals people. No, they're not coming out of the car. Usually appraisal people come out and they look at things or they take pictures. This person's not even got out of the driver's side. And they're not parked in front of a house to take pictures. They're not even doing it properly. Okay. Anyway, so let's keep going. So, like I said, as soon as I talk about Teal Swan is allowed to disseminate all that kind of truth, and her feed I didn't see any feed. Her feed was never blocked. Her feed wasn't disrupted. Maybe a Toyota. You might be right. It's a Toyota. On insurance on Saturday. No. Y'all going in. They wouldn't do that live. If they wanted to take FleurBrun out, doing that live would martyr me. They would, if you do something like that on a live stream, that would martyr me. You know how many people would go balls in the wall just for somebody that happening live? So they aren't dumb. They wouldn't be dumb. I want to live. They'll watch though. Maybe he's doing a live. No, it's not a he. It looks like a she, and she's sitting on the corner. Okay. Anyway, let's go. I keep breaking up the conversation. So yeah. So she's allowed to give this kind of information live. There's a lot of channels that are allowed to give a lot of true information, and you always have to wonder, well, why would they disrupt my feed? If I'm giving out pretty much a similar amount of information, truthful information, why disrupt my feed? Why would you break down? It's another helicopter. Why would you always disrupt my intel? Why would you do it? Because if other people are giving the truth, you know why? Because there's a legitimacy. I'm not here to make money off of you. This is a free feed. I'm not here to hurt you. There isn't anything I want to do. I don't want to get anything from you. There isn't any agenda attached to me. I come from pretty beautiful people. My mom and dad, I have some quirky behavior, but my mom and dad were the most amazing people in the whole wide world. I personally think my mommy and daddy were like the most, and they aren't perfect, but I think they were the most amazing people in the whole wide world. So I do come from really sweet people, very kind people. So I have to think to myself, maybe because I emanate, I won't give you truth with poison. So I personally think the fact of the matter is, I'm disseminating what I know to be true, because truth is based on your perception of reality and what I experience. But by the nature of my body, or what the frequency I'm emanating, I haven't been traumatized except by the Nazi that I chose to marry, other than him. But I had a really decent background, was loved, taken care of, voted. I am a daddy's girl. I come with a certain type of frequency. And I personally think, and I love animals and babies. You already know that, so maybe that's it too. I love animals. Okay, so the person's still in the car. Just keep the time going. Whoever's doing the time, keep the time going. So I just think that because I'm giving some medicine, truth, there isn't any poison to it. So I'm giving you a naturopathic, homeopathic intel without the poison. So now I've realized that these portals, these human portals that are allowed to disseminate certain types of quote unquote intel, are being utilized as a way to poison people at the same time. So it's just like veganism could be perfect for someone who's too acidic. Veganism is great for somebody who's been eating too much dense meat, who's been really toxic, who needs to alkaline their bloodstream to make them less acidic. Yeah, it's perfect for them, but for others, it's actually a poison. It can depreciate their blood levels. It can depreciate their nutritional their nutrition. It can hamper their immune system for someone who isn't for that life, but for others it could be positive based on them being extremes. So I'm just saying, I think that why you're allowed to have these organic portals disseminating certain kinds of information is because they're getting people sick at the same time. Okay, it's anything that's being elevated to a higher degree and allowed to disseminate information, especially when you're under a whole tyranny of social media. That means something's up with them. They're serving a higher agenda than maybe even they know. So they may be allowed to be in that pinnacle point because they're influencing people enough to entrain them or to steer them in a direction or to distract them. Also, they can be used as distractions. Okay, so you have organic portals, people created, genetically homogenized to be able to have things come in them and disseminate certain patterns of unhealthy genres or unhealthy propaganda that allows to entrap people or distract people. Okay, then we have the inorganic portals. Now these are the ones that we have to be mindful of. Inorganic portals are like your phones, your televisions. You know, my television blew up. So I won't be utilizing my television again because for the second time, and I should learn from the universe the first time. I shouldn't have replaced it. I only have one television in my house, and I shouldn't have replaced it, but I did like 2 years later, and then it blew up again. So now the black mirror is out of my house, and I will only be using a projector to watch my movies. So now I have a projector screen that isn't a black portal in my house because I won't be using my black portal, the black mirror, in front of my house anymore. Okay, because your phone is a portal. That's an inorganic portal. Your television is an inorganic portal. A lot of your low field electronics are inorganic portals. What does it mean? These are ways to interface with others or things to interface with you without your knowledge or without your permission, your direct, overt permission. Mirrors are portals. Those need to be checked or covered. Okay, so we talked about the black mirror, which is a television on your cell phone. We talked about also leaving those out of your bedrooms. You shouldn't be sleeping with your phones in your room or your laptops. Those are all portals for entry, meaning that it can be accessed by others outside of yourself. Person is still in the car. Interesting. You can access, like, smart meters can be used as portals to bring in certain energies in your house. A lot of these are inorganic portals. These are the things that you have to watch and monitor or keep at bay so that you aren't allowed to... Oh, you didn't think about doing a projector? Yeah. So I have a projector now as my television. So when I want to watch, because I can just do it on my laptop, put it up, and watch my movies on a beautiful white screen with the projector. I won't be using a television anymore. Why do you do lives in your driveway and don't go inside? I'm inside the house all the time. Maybe because I have company? Maybe because I do lives everywhere. Are you new to the channel? Maybe you don't know that. I do lives in my driveway. I do lives in my car. I do lives in my living room. I do lives in my bedroom. I do lives at Starbucks. I do lives everywhere. I do it in the car sometimes if I have company. If I have company, I don't want to do a live in the house. I want to do it. And also, I like being nosy. No, it may be a newbie. Sometimes they wonder why I'm in the car. Yeah, I do. If you don't know me and you're new to me, I do it all over. Yeah. You just may have caught me when I'm sitting in my driveway. I have in my house, so I'm outside. I'm about to leave you guys in a moment. So, you say, person's still in the car. I hope you're marking the time. Person's still in the car. Person has not gotten out for the entirety of the time. And this is what I like about sitting in my driveway. I get to see the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs people that are stalking. This is a form of stalking. Interesting. Haven't gotten out of the car. There's a certain person who stopped. Now, I know why they stopped almost right in front of my home previously. Remember I gave you the license plate? They stopped, meaning that they found the address that they were looking for. So they did find the address, but they didn't want to park straight in front of the house. So I noticed that they stopped there, and then they went around the block a couple times, and then they came and found a spot, because they're not very smart, at the end of the block so that they could sit there and watch from. But they're idiots because I'm a New Yorker. We're nosy. New York. If you ever have a New York neighbor, you're being watched. New Yorkers, we're just paranoid by nature, growing up in New York. I listen. Anyway. Oh, so inorganic portals you have to cover. Make sure you aren't sleeping anywhere. It is distracting, Sin. Sin, why are you here? Sin. Okay, Sin. Because you're distracting me as well. So, Sin, you know what, Sin? Thank you. Sin may have to go. I may just block you from my channel because I think you're the distraction. You're probably the person in the car. Be careful about that because the person in the car could be on the feed. That would be really diabolical, right? The same person on here talking about why am I paranoid is the same person sitting in the car watching me on the live, causing me to not pay attention, so I won't pay attention to them. Guess that was these foolish people. Anyway, so be careful of the inorganic portals that you have around you. Like I said, televisions, black screens, black mirrors, any mirrors in your house. You should always have bathroom doors closed. Always do things like that. Because what people don't understand, we're living in a very occult time. We always were, but now you notice the occultism. Many people weren't about that life. Many people weren't about that life originally. So now a lot of people are into magic, into occultism. Now they know it exists. So now many of you are now noticing the magic or the spells or the sigils or the things that they're doing, whereas before it was always occurring, just there was a lack of acknowledgement of it. Now we know, so now you know better, you do better. So you cover your mirrors. You shouldn't have mirrors all open, because when someone's scrying, if you have a stalker, spiritual stalker, they'll use your mirror to be able to access you and see what you're doing. That's a fact. Talk to anybody who's big into you, like Aerobists, Wiccans, and so on. Mirrors are used as portals to access you. Even when you look in fairy tales, whenever they're looking at the reflection, you ever notice, like, you ever see those fairy tales when a witch is looking for Dorothy, or the witch is looking for information, she looks in her crystal ball, and then you see like Dorothy, or you see them looking in water, and the reflection back, and what is the witch looking at? The witch is looking at them through the water, the reflection. So the reflection of the water bouncing back is how they are looking and spying. So anything that's reflective can be used as a portal. So I don't say this to be paranoid, I just say for you to be proactive. So things that are reflective, you want to make sure that you don't have access to them all the time. You want to make sure that these aren't things that are right in your bathroom. Why do you think, it's interesting you have, well, bathrooms should have mirrors, but you just be careful when you have mirrors in bathrooms, or, if the mirror is facing your bed. You shouldn't have mirrors facing your bed. I hope there isn't any of you with mirrors in your bed. The person is still in the car, hasn't gotten out of the car the entire time we've been on, okay? So if you have mirrors in your bedroom, just cover them. Be mindful. Your phone shouldn't be next to your bed. Your laptop you shouldn't be falling asleep with I've fallen asleep with the laptop sometimes. Falling asleep with the laptop. Put your phone on, that helicopter's close. Put your laptops away. Put your phone on airplane mode and take it out of your room. What you should do is put your phone on airplane mode and remove it from your room and turn it off. Dr. Delbert Blair was the best at, Dr. Delbert Blair put me on that most phones aren't off, even when you turn, especially the iPhone. The iPhone is, you could turn the iPhone off and it still has access to you electronically. It can still emit, because I've done it. It still emits a certain frequency. So the fact of the matter is that even when a phone is supposedly off, it still can emit a certain low field frequency that can alter you. And the people that are most susceptible to infiltration are empty seaters or open portals, biological portals. Hold on. Oh, it's time to go? Okay. All right. Let me just state this. I'll be there in 15 minutes, okay? 15. What time is it? Okay, I said 3 o'clock we're going. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I gotta go soon, family. So let me just go into this. I gotta go in a little bit. Okay, so landlines are the bomb.com, and you notice they're not promoting any landlines, right, Tashna? Tashna. Tashna? He said Tashna is a beautiful name. Yes, you notice they're not promoting any. Oh, the person. Okay, let's just to let you know, because we're keeping time mark. This person has not exited. Before I leave, you know I'm gonna do this. When I get off with y'all, I'm gonna drive past them and take a picture because I'm about this life. Okay, so I don't like people sitting and monitoring me. I want to let them know that I know that they're monitoring me. Okay, so people can be used with the low field energy with the portal. So portals can use other portals. Okay, so you have a phone. That's why the overlay grays are so masterful, because I only know that most overlay grays can only infiltrate people that are. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Nasia. Thank you, Mama. I appreciate it. Portals can use other portals to access you. So when I know that someone tells me, oh my God, there was an overlay gray on someone, I already know that that portal, the phone portal, could only access. You ready? Okay, okay. Guys, I gotta go. Let me see this. They're ready. I've got you. We're going out to do fun stuff today, so mommy can't stay too long, okay? Because I got all kinds of little ones. I've got all kinds of little ones in my house. So let me just state this last statement. Portals can access other portals. So when people say that they have grays on them, I also know by the nature of that person having that attachment on them means that they are biologically a portal, meaning that they have a certain genetic quality that allows for other entities to attach to them or have access to them easier than others. Okay, so that being said, so guys, I wish I was more on point. I hope I was at least helpful to a certain degree. I gotta go. I gotta go, and I need to go take pictures of the stalker that's down. Oh, I'll tell them Carlos you said hi. Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate it. Thank you, my love. I gotta go and take care of the little people, make sure they're happy, and also take a picture that I will probably post on IG. This is how I get that. I get excited when they try to do craziness, because you know why? They just prove that they're crazy. They're not even smart enough. This is what happens when Willy Wonka gets lazy. They can't even pay enough money for proper stalkers. And this may not even be Willy Wonka. This might be another ops. Maybe this is some sort of other intel. It's a private intel. Sometimes they have the private ones show up. Anyway, I'm gonna post it on IG, the picture of the car and the license plate, because that's how I get down. We blowing all spots today. All right, family, I love you. It's 21 minutes, right? Thank you, Medusa. 21 minutes. They were sitting here. No one got out of the car. Who's sitting there for 21 minutes? Well, I would be careful. Listen, FleurBrun's about. I'm okay. Let me go, family. I love you. Take care and peace.